if you can get to 80% strong in each of those 6 key components, you're cranking. You're doing amazing. I'll give you an example or an idea. Most companies are 20% strong and succeeding in spite of themselves. And so think about what that growth would look like if you got from 20 to even 60% strong in each of those 6 key components. You know, it'll change your whole world.
Yeah. Welcome to the Boise REIN Show, your destination for creating wealth through connections in real estate and business. Are you looking to become a real estate professional? Do you want to start your own successful real estate business? Well, I'm your host, Matt Osojnicki. Join us as we learn from the brightest minds, industry leaders, and experienced professionals, equipping you with the knowledge and confidence needed to make informed decisions and thrive in the ever-changing real estate landscape. Your journey starts now. Welcome back to the Boise REIN Show. I'm your host, Matt Osojnicki, and today's guest is Max Reich. Now, he's an investor. He's done JV deals. He's done partnerships. His wife is flipping mobile homes. They've got a few single-family units, but most importantly, he is a business coach. He is an EOS implementer, right?
Yep, that's it.
Because there's the integrator and then the implementer, right?
That's right.
So he's an EOS implementer. He is a wealth of knowledge. He's helped me so much, just leading up to this. And I'm so thankful that he's on the podcast today so that he can talk to you guys. So Max, if you don't mind, get the audience a little up to speed about where you came from and where you're going.
Awesome. Thanks so much for letting me be here.
Yeah.
I'm excited to have a conversation with you today.
Yeah.
This has been really fun. So I'm an old man. You can see the gray hair here, but I've been through a lot in my life, and but just keep on keeping on. I started out in sales years and years and years ago.
It's a good place to start sales.
Yeah. So Circuit City, if you remember that company.
Yes.
Competitor Best Buy.
Was that before the internet came out?
There was.
Uh-huh.
Yes. About that long ago.
Yep.
But was in sales for a really long time. And then about 12 years ago, found myself in kind of this transition phase. It was kind of a crazy situation. I found myself kind of broken and broke. Have you ever? And most people have maybe experienced a little bit of that before. So sitting on the edge of my bed and just like, what do I do? I just don't even know what to do. I was $80,000 in the hole and didn't know what to do. And so. What I did was I just decided that I'm going to either go one way or the other. I'm going to either grow or I'm not going to grow. And we're just going to be stuck in this in kind of misery.
How do you decide what direction you're going to go in? There's got to be a time period or like a well of just, I don't want to call it like being depressed, but like not knowing what to do.
Yeah.
Like the analysis paralysis type deal,
Yeah.
but just you don't have the answers.
Yeah, it's really just making a decision and just saying, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I got to take one step at a time. I'm the type of person that if you tell me I can't do it, or you tell me I'm not worth it or not big enough or not whatever, I'm going to prove you wrong. And so I just took that experience as I'm going to overcome this. I have no idea how I'm going to overcome it, but I'm going to overcome it. And so I just said one day at a time. And I started working on changing my friend group. I started working on just working on my mindset, listening to personal development stuff, and one day at a time started making things happen. I put pictures out there of things that I wanted to do, created this kind of vision board for where I wanted to be, and I'm sure you have one or know about them really well. So and then I just one step at a time, and it took me about a year and a half to pay off that $80,000. Didn't have a job at the time, just like completely, bad spot, the kind of spot where you have a 1997 Honda Civic with one wheel different than the others. That's the kind of spot that I was in, what I mean?
Right.
And so, I just one day at a time. And I said, I want to buy a house. My big goal is I want to buy a house. I always wanted to be an investor.
Okay.
And, but the first one was getting my own house. And so what I did is I just one day at a time, I'm going to work on fixing things. About a year and a half later, paid off that $80K. About 6 months later, bought my first house. Then went about another year and a half and bought my first investment property. And then it just kind of snowballed from there. Because if you just take one step at a time, you'll get to where you want to be. And I was always perfecting my skills. just working, consuming, working on my skills, sales skills, business skills, real estate skills.
And the best way to work on those is to take that action.
Take action.
Yeah.
That's it.
I love that. I love how you started off, because we talk a lot about goal setting and building a plan and course of actions.
Yeah.
And you built your vision board.
That's it.
And what was most important to you was, I want to be an investor. I want to get in real estate.
That's it.
How do I get there?
Yeah.
That's when you come up with your plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I found the right person. I mean, I found somebody that said, you know what? I believe in you and you can do it.
Really?
And he was a realtor. He is a realtor. And he just, he said, listen, you're, 2 years out from being able to buy a house. This is like the depths of where I was. You're 2 years out, but let's check in every month or two, and let's just see where you're at.
That's incredible.
And who does that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
If I can't buy a house from him for 2 years, well, then I bought 3 houses from him. So it paid off a lot in the end for him.
Yeah.
But just having that one person say, listen, I believe in you, and I'm gonna take that time. And so it's so important to be around the right kind of people.
Yeah. And building those relationships.
100%.
That's a huge relationship.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that guy, he knew you were 2 years out,
Mhm.
potentially,
Mhm.
but there was nothing to say that, his time was going to pay off with you at the end.
That's right.
But he led with value.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's right.
you held yourself accountable. Like, this guy is giving me his time, his knowledge. I am going to do the best I can for him.
That's right.
What a great relationship.
Oh man, it's just changed my life.
Yeah.
Totally.
So did you continue investing in real estate? So you said you bought 3 homes from him?
Yep. 3
Yeah.
homes from him, and sold 1 home with him as well. So
Okay.
ended up paying off really great for him and me.
Yeah.
I got into that, and then I met my wife, who in that whole process. Just, I mean, incredible blessing to my life is meeting her, because we're on the same page. Working with somebody that's on the same page with you in where you want to go is so critical as well.
Yeah, we had a podcast not too long ago with Kylie on there, and we
Ah.
talked about communication and staying in your lane and actually talking about what it is that you want to do.
Mhm.
And it's amazing how similar some of your goals can be when you just communicate with the other person. Like, oh my gosh, I want to do this too. I had no idea, and it's
Yeah.
exciting. And when you work towards those common goals, it like brings you closer together.
That's right.
That's really cool.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's great being in business with her too. And just like Kylie, Kylie's
Yeah.
great. You
Yeah.
got a really great one
Yeah,
there.
right on.
Lucky man.
Okay.
So
Thanks.
Yeah.
So you buy these, you got these 3 houses, you sold 1.
yep.
What next? You accomplished the goal.
Yeah.
Now I want to talk about this goal too. Like, this brings up a good point. It's one thing to set a goal, like, I want to achieve X. I want to make it to this destination.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of my gripes that I've had with goals, is like, once you achieve it, then what? It's like, once the dog catches the car,
Mm-hmm.
then what?
Yeah.
Can you explain or talk a little bit more about and then what?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So I learned this from a guy named Tony Robbins. Maybe you've heard of him
Yeah.
before, but you got to continually raise 2 things. You got to continually raise your goals, because hitting the goal is not the answer. It's who you become in hitting the goal. It's who the person that you grow into in hitting the goal. This is why lottery winners always go broke, is because they're not living up to, or they don't have the personal development up to that level of money. So the money goes away. And so once you hit your goal, in the process of hitting your goal, you're becoming a bigger person. So you need to find a bigger goal to go after. And otherwise there's no fulfillment in it. Otherwise you just you just fall apart.
Yeah.
And it's you feel empty when you hit a goal. Maybe you've experienced that before. You're like,
Absolutely.
is this all there is?
Right.
When you get there. And so now it's more about just creating more and doing bigger and bigger projects, so that I can stretch myself and continue to develop me and other people.
Okay. So creating more and doing bigger projects.
Yeah.
What was that for you? What did
Yeah.
you create? What did you build?
Yeah. So 2 things. Went into business on my own more.
Okay.
And so started a sales company. Started sales coaching and training on that side, and then on the real estate side, my wife and I went into joint ventures. And so we're in one of those right now, and always looking for more.
Yeah.
We are into private money lending. We have an Airbnb. I mean, we have this,
Yeah.
all these different things, because we wanted to try it out and see.
Your creativity
do.
just exploded.
It just exploded.
Yeah. That brings up a good point, because I know for me, I didn't know where to get started. You didn't know where to get started either. You just wanted to be an investor, right?
Yeah.
And you achieved that goal. It's like, okay, now what else do I do? That process, it seems like it can keep repeating itself. You accomplish the thing, and like, okay, what drives my passion now?
That's
And
right.
it seems like you found that. So your past job, your previous life as a W-2, you're in sales, Circuit City, and
Yeah. As a 21-year-old.
as a 21-year-old,
Yeah.
I don't know much what you did between Circuit City and then starting your own firm
Sure.
or sales company,
Yep.
but you had to make a transition sometime
Yep.
at some point.
Yeah. So what that was is I worked for a few different companies in the sales or sales leadership, VP of sales, those kind of levels.
Mhm.
And then I just got tired of the corporate world itself
Yep.
and said, listen, I can do it better. And there were sales trainers and companies out there that were, teaching things that were 20 or 30 years old. And I was like, sales is very simple. It's just a conversation amongst friends,
Yeah.
just like we're having
Love
right
that.
now.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be the hard close like people talk
Yeah.
about. And so I started, I got to create my own curriculum. I got to start doing sales training. Then I created a outsourced sales company where social media influencers would hire us, outsource us to sell their coaching and courses. And so that became great. And then that kind of led me into what I'm doing now, which is I got kind of tired of bolstering up a sales organization, and then their operations and finance would fall apart, and so I couldn't do anything about that. And I met a friend of mine, said, "Hey, you got to take a look at this thing called EOS." And I was like, "What's EOS? I've never heard of this EOS before." And he was like, "Well, we're implementing it in our business, and we've shown tremendous growth, getting us all on the same page." And so I researched it for about a year and a half, or about a year, I guess, and then just said, I've got to do that. That's exactly what my passion is. I've been searching for this forever.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I want to take a pause right there
Let's do it.
because you made it sound so easy. Like, oh, I found my passion, I found my niche. It was
Yeah.
right there in front of me the whole time. Like, it just sounds so easy.
Yeah.
I know for some people what I do probably sounds easy. Like, oh, you were always in short-term rentals. You make
Yeah.
it look so easy.
Yeah.
But it reminds me of another podcast we did with Shannon Robnett. And he talked about working for his dad at his construction company. His dad told him to run rock out to a foundation at a job site for 3 or 6 months.
Yep.
And he was like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm the guy that runs the rocks out for the foundation.
Sure.
And it's because he took action that he was able to identify problems in the system. Just like you took action. You were in the sales force and you identified problems. I can do this better.
Yeah.
I can do this more efficiently.
Yeah.
And it's all about just getting out there and taking action. It doesn't matter what you're in, what industry you're in. You have to get in it to find those problems that you can solve.
Yeah.
All entrepreneurs are problem solvers.
That's it.
The best entrepreneurs are the best problem solvers.
Yeah.
That's all it is. So for those who really can't find what it is they want to do or they're passionate about, just go out there and take action and do stuff. Take the first steps, like what you said.
Yeah.
I was sitting in my bed, didn't know what to do, so I took action.
Yeah. Right now, I mean, think about this. If I were to go completely broke right now, I've got this level of skills, just like
Yes.
you have level of skills. If you take away all that I have, and I have nothing, I have skills. And so what I would do is start a business.
100%.
I would just go out and start a lawn mowing business, or
Yep.
start something that's easy, that doesn't take a lot of mental capital, and just go start knocking on doors. Is it hard? It's hard because you got to go knock on doors. It's but that's what I would do now.
Yep.
I would not go back and work for corporate America again, just because I want to do something bigger than that. That's
Exactly.
why. It's not.
Yep.
It's great for people that are there. I'm not saying anything bad about it. Just for me, it's not the right spot.
Yeah, and it's weird too because once you in the cash flow quadrant, the book by Robert
love
Kiyosaki,
it.
he talks about the 4 quadrants:
Mm-hmm.
the employee, the self-employed, the business owner, and the investor.
Yep.
And it takes a lot to move up in quadrants. But
Yep.
once you move up in quadrants, I don't really think you could go back.
You can't.
You can't. Once Pandora's box is unleashed, there is no going back. And I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
the thing is, all you have to do is just have a little belief.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the belief, you just find somebody, like I found that realtor that just said, I'm going to believe in you.
Mhm.
You can borrow other people's belief if you don't believe in yourself. And the only way to believe in yourself is to take action, and you get a little success and you get a little failure, and you get a little success and you get a little failure, but just keep going, and sooner or later you'll break free.
100%. Yep.
Yeah.
And find people, upgrade your friend group, and find those people that you want to work with.
That's right.
Wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
so
awesome.
moving on to this next bigger, better thing. You were talking about EOS.
Yeah.
What the heck is EOS?
Yeah, that's awesome. So EOS is a simple set of tools to help you harness the human energy in a company. So a lot of people know, they run into these problems like, hey, you've probably heard, hey, we have people problems. We can't find good talent, or
Hmm.
we can't hire good people, or everybody wants, huge numbers and for pay, and they can't. And it's a $20 an hour job, let's say, for example, and they want $40. We've tried everything and nothing's working. We've hit a ceiling in our company
We
and nothing's
plateaued.
working.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or cash flow isn't, they're not making enough profit, or any of those problems that happen.
I'm working 80 hours a week and I don't know how to not work
Yeah.
80 hours a week anymore.
Yeah. So what EOS is just a simple set of tools to help you, harness the human capital in your business. And so what we do in EOS is we do three things. They're called vision, traction, and healthy. What we do is we create a vision for the organization, help everybody get on the same page with where you're going and how you plan to get there. And then what we do is we drive discipline and accountability throughout the organization to help get everybody in the row and in the same direction toward that vision. And then we help the leadership team work together as a healthy, functional, cohesive team. So, because most of the time, or not most of the time, some of the time, people don't work together as a team.
Yeah.
And so when you get everybody focused on the same place, rowing in that same direction, man, it's amazing what happens throughout the whole organization.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if we clarified this before, but EOS is the Entrepreneurial Operating System.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurial Operating System.
And that came from, I believe his name, Gino Wickman, right?
Gino Wickman.
And they had the book Traction or
Yep.
something. And What the Heck is EOS and Rocket Fuel, all those good ones.
Yeah, there's quite a few books in the U.S. library now.
Yeah, totally.
But Traction is the first one that started the whole thing.
Yep.
And Gino Wickman just kind of came up with this. He's been an entrepreneur from the age of 21, I think, and he was struggling with, man, I got to figure out a way to run a better business. And so he, over a period of time, put this together. And then, there's 100,000 businesses running on EOS worldwide.
It's been around for a long time.
About 15, 17 years
17
or so.
years,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have used it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And man, when you do it, magic happens. It's amazing.
It is. And I have recently started implementing EOS into my businesses as
Awesome.
well. And it's a game changer.
Yeah.
It's weird because like my time comes back. It's cool.
Yeah.
Because now everyone's rowing in the same direction.
Yep.
And we've identified roles and responsibilities and compartmentalized.
Yeah.
So speaking of rowing in the same direction, that's one of my favorite analogies to use. You've got in the EOS, they talk about the visionary and the integrator.
Yep.
And my analogy is you've got the rower and the steerer.
Yep.
You need somebody who's going to steer you in the direction you want to go. And you need somebody that's going to know how to row to get you there.
Yep.
But if a bunch of people are rowing in the wrong direction, you're going to stay in one spot. If you're steering in the wrong direction, you're just going to go in circles.
Yeah.
And this system helps you achieve that vision that the company has moving forward.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
I just worked with a leadership team yesterday. They've been in business for 15 years. It's a company that's 75 employees. And I worked with the second level, we call mid-managers. So second level from the leadership team. And we just shared with them the vision that we had been working on for 4 months with the leadership team. And we shared with them the vision, what's going to happen, what their 10-year target is, what their 3-year picture is, what their 1-year plan is. And I had, guys that would come up to me and they came up to me and they also said it just out loud. We are so excited. For 15 years, I didn't quite know where we were going or how we were going to get there. And now I feel like we have a real vision about where we're going. And it's all on a 1-page document instead of a strategic plan that's 50 pages.
Yeah.
It's just a 11 by 17 document.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So to me, that's the most rewarding thing is to have that happen. When you can not only help all the organization, but man, those visionary and integrator who, like you're talking about, you're working your face off in the business. And we get to get you out of that, and we're working on the business instead of in the business. Mm-hmm. And if you can get to that place where you're working on instead of in, magic happens, and then you get what you want. As an entrepreneur, we don't want to work 90 hours a week. We want to create something and then help and grow it, but not be working at 90 hours a week.
Yeah, that magic is a wonderful thing too. What I would personally relate that magic to is in EOS, they talk about delegate and elevate.
Yep.
And that exercise, you identify what are you great at and what do you love. and then versus what do you hate and what are you bad at, and then the other two in between.
Hmm.
And I found some of that magic is I am able to do more of what I love and I'm
Yeah.
really good at and passionate, want to work on.
Yeah.
And the other things I'm bad at, turns out, hey, some other people on my team are actually love doing those things.
Yes.
And it gets everybody in the right seat.
That's
And I
right.
feel like that's a little bit of that magic that you're talking about, and it pushes you and drives you forward.
Yeah. So when you talk about the delegate and elevate tool, just one quick caveat to
Yeah.
that. When I share that with people, a lot of times they're like, well, we don't have anybody to delegate. So, because that's just their immediate reaction. We don't, somebody's got to do the work. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so what that tool does is that it just shows you what you're best at and what you're most excited about. And then you can make decisions to find, just like you said, other people that are good at those tasks. I'm not really great at emails and doing social media posts and those kinds of things. So I know that I'm not good at that, and I know that I don't enjoy it. And so it's smart for me as an entrepreneur to have somebody else do those things.
Yeah.
You know?
And what I found is that there's other people on your team that you're working alongside.
Yep.
It's not that you just have to go and find another employee to be your social media manager.
Nope.
No, you just have to do this exercise with your team. And it turns out, maybe Sandra really loves social media and she's been waiting for this opportunity
Yeah.
to add value to the company.
Yeah.
She's like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting for this. I love social media. Let me help.
That's right.
And
That's right.
I have found that I know it's called delegate and elevate, but like the delegation is like, it could be within your team.
Yep.
And it identifies lane. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. So it's a great tool. And that's just one of 20 tools that we have inside of the system of EOS.
Yeah. So let's hear about some more. Get us up to speed with more on EOS. I won't cut you off. I promise. I'm excited about this stuff.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. So earlier we talked about, having a challenge finding people and finding the right people. And that's a huge thing in today's world. And what I can tell you is that the reason that probably is a good portion of the reason that you can't find the right people in your organization or people are running into that challenge is because you don't have a compelling vision for them to get excited about. You don't have something that they can latch onto and say, man, we're on this mission together, instead of just pay, instead of just I'm going in, clocking out. The younger generations now, I can't remember what they're called, like X and Y and whatever. They want a mission. They're back to wanting a mission and not just clock in, clock out, and get a paycheck. And so if you have that vision that you can share with them, for example, core values, this is something huge inside of EOS. When I ask people about core values now, a lot of times they'll read off things, like integrity and hard work and some of those things. Well, there's a Harvard Business Review article out and it shares, it talks about core values. And what it talks about is the people that have those kind of core values as their core values are companies like Enron. You've heard of Enron before.
Yeah.
They went out of business. So those words mean nothing. That's what that means is they mean that they're called pay to play or permission to play, which just means that they're not really attached to anything. They're just fancy words. And so a better core value would be act as a family. That's a really great core value, for somebody. And so we have a specific way that we go about finding the unique core values for your company. And if you do find the unique core values, as we do find the unique core values for your company, then we use those. We use them for rewarding people. We use them for hiring people. We use them for holding people accountable because they have to be a core value fit. In EOS, we talk about in the people component, there's 6 key components to the system. And there's one called the people component. And in that we have 2 tools, one called right people and right seats. And right people are people that fit your culture like a glove. They're the people that, that love where you're going. They're a core value fit. They're happy. They're great. And then we have people that are right seats. And those are people that are good at their job and they know how to do their job really well, high performers, that kind of stuff. And what we want to do is find both, and we want to find both. And if you have all, let's say you have 50 employees, all 50 employees that are right people, right seats, they fit your core values and they know their job and they do it really well, man, magic happens. It's amazing what happens. Incredible. And we never think about it. And so how do you measure people? It's like, well, Sally's great, but she's great, but is she hitting the measurables that we need to hit? Or Sally's kind of not nice and she kind of creates toxic in our, but she's the top salesperson. Both of those situations are not good. And so we have to work through and at least recognize those, have them crystal clear. And so we can act on them if we know about that. Does that make sense?
It does. It
Yeah.
does. But I do have a question about this now, because now
Let's
I'm
ask it.
thinking like a caveat. What do you say to the business that's, I just got to get out there and work every day. I don't have time for doing this. I got my employees. I got my jobs. I just need to go out there and get the job done. This isn't going to help. This isn't going to help me.
Yeah. My immediate question is, are you happy?
My immediate answer is like, I feel like this is the type of person that doesn't set goals.
Yeah.
They did the first step of the entrepreneur system is they found a problem, they solved it.
Yeah.
So now they created a job for themselves.
Yep.
And now they're just working that job.
Yep.
And they know that if they don't get the job done, then they're going to be out of a job.
Yeah.
So they keep working it harder because that's the answer. It's just work it harder.
Yeah. And so I asked them, I just go through a series of questions, and this is, just to find out what's in it for them. It's not for everybody. Just so you know, it's not for everybody. Sometimes people just want to do their thing, and that's okay. But if you want to run a really efficient business and you want to be able to release yourself from the business and have the profit that you want to and have the happy employees that you want to,
and the growth,
you got to have an operating system. And if you don't use EOS, that's okay. It's not for everybody, but you got to find an operating system, something that works for you. And it can't be Bob's operating system, if Bob's the owner. That just doesn't, unless he's a genius and, amazing, that's great. But you can't, you got to do something that is proven system. And EOS has been a proven system for years. And I promise you that if you implement it, whether with me, somebody like me, an implementer, or if you do it on your own, it's totally okay. It's just your life will change. Your life and your business will change drastically within a period of a year or two.
Yeah, and I want to attest to that because I know you talked about this is great for like the 10 to 150 employees, or
yeah.
I forget specifically what your metric was.
Yeah, so the sweet spot, if you call it that, to work with an implementer. Okay, if you work with an implementer, the sweet spot for the for us is around 10 to 250 employees. And so we do vary a little bit. I've worked, with a leadership team or with a team of 3 employees. So it's not hard set in stone. This is just kind of where it goes. And around 2 million to around, 50 to 60 million in revenue. So those are kind of the sweet spots, but we go bigger and smaller just depending on, who they are. If it's a startup and they're like, man, we have to do this and we want to do this, and there's 1 employee, cool, it's happened.
Yeah.
But even just as an individual, if you read, if you're just a solopreneur and you're like, man, I really want to do this the right way and I want to set up my business the right way, I can't recommend enough that you get the book Traction and you get in a group or you find people that you can work with. I know that you're part of a group that you guys are holding each other accountable and learning and doing that kind of stuff. And so find other people that are on the same path with their business and just implement the system, even if it's just you, and you'll grow much faster.
I agree. And I'm glad you brought that up because that's what I wanted to say. I've got a team of 4 people.
Yep.
We are super small still.
Yeah.
I would consider myself smaller than a small business.
Sure.
All right. Even though we may have good growth and good revenue, I know that this is something I want to scale.
Yeah.
And the best way to scale is to build the system, build the infrastructure to do it. That way I'm not Bob, like you mentioned earlier, telling John to go to work.
That's right.
I am Bob, and I am telling my business structure to go to work. I'm telling my systems to go to work.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter who fills in the rest of it. It's not who is filling it. It's the system that I'm building.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, you're going to do so much further, so much faster, and you're going to be happier in accomplishing your goals. I know you're a big goal setter guy. Yep. And you're really working on goals, and I am too. I love goals. I love, it's the only way that you're going to get somewhere is if you set those metrics.
Yeah. Thinking is one of the hardest things to do. And as entrepreneurs are trying to solve problems.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of the things that we encourage. We have a tool called Clarity Break inside of EOS. And what that is that you just got to, as an entrepreneur, even a manager, anybody that leads people, you got to take a break away from the business, a coffee shop, brewery, whatever it is. And you got to sit down and you got to think, use your brain. That's what we're here for. A lot of times people are so, hustling in the business. Like you said, earlier, that guy that's just, I got to work harder, work harder, work harder. Well, guess what? You're working hard in the wrong direction. If you never take a step back and you look up and, if you're in the Amazon forest and you're trying to, cut a road and you don't step above the trees and say, are we going in the right direction once in a while, you're going to either go in circles or you're going to be going in reverse, and it's not a great thing. And so I just can't recommend enough to have some sort of operating system. Plug for EOS, it's the best there is. But
Yeah, and the book is great too.
yeah.
This show would not be possible without the support from our local community. Because of you, we're able to share information from leading professionals like never before. That's why our sponsors at Boise Turnkey Investments and Your Stay B&B have teamed up with the Boise REIN Show. Whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned pro, they help bring you all the insider information to get you started on your journey today. Back to the show. Okay, so you talked about the clarity break and trying to go in the right direction.
Yep.
And we haven't really talked much about the meeting pulse.
Yeah.
But does the clarity break come in with the meeting pulse? Because I love the analogy that you have with this on, how people accomplish, something that they say they're going to do, and then they go back into the lull again, like, okay, well, I got 2 more weeks to complete this.
Yep. Yeah. So we call it the 90-day world inside of EOS. And what the 90-day world is what we've kind of learned is that we set goals as humans for a year. And then and we're like, cool, that's going to happen in December. It's January, it's going to be January here. We're going to set new goals. And then it's next December, you're like, oh, I didn't accomplish anything I wanted to. And so we have to break that down into a 90-day world. And so what that 90-day world looks like is that we set what we call rocks, which are most important business priorities for the next quarter to get us towards that goal. So we set 3 to 7 rocks. Most important business priorities towards the next quarter to get us to our year. And then we break those down to what we call the meeting pulse, which is once a week we meet and we have a meeting to discuss issues and to check in on all the things that are challenges in our business. I don't know about you, but have you ever had a bad meeting?
Well, in my W-2 world, we had
Yeah.
meetings all the time in the
Yeah.
military.
Yeah.
They're terrible.
Yeah.
Nothing got done.
Yeah.
We just talked about just back and forth, just random stuff. And it's like, what just happened?
That's right.
I wasted another 2 hours because John was talking for 30 minutes. He wouldn't shut up.
That's right. So we don't want that to happen anymore. Nobody likes bad meetings, and we have thousands and millions of them around the world right now. That are happening right now, bad meetings. And so what we do is we set it up to a very specific structure that we go through and we report on the things that we need to report on, make sure we're on track towards those 90-day goals. And then we do a process we call IDS, which is the way that we solve issues. And we solve those issues that we can solve together. And we have a very specific way that we do that as well. And then we solve those issues for the week. And then we set to-dos for the next week. And then we just hold that meeting every single week, same time, same place, start on time, end on time. And so everyone knows what's going to happen, and everyone knows that that's the place that we're going to solve issues. So what happens then is we have that weekly cadence that we're checking in on our numbers that we need to do. We're getting our issues solved, and we're just moving the ball forward every week towards that 90-day world. So in 90 days, then we take a breath and we take a step back, and we have a quarterly meeting, and we say, cool, we check our vision. We make sure we're all on the same page with the vision. We make sure we're all on the same page with where we're going, how we plan to get there, and our 10-year, 10-year target, our 3-year picture, our 1-year plan. Are they all still where we need to be? Is this still who we are as a company? Every quarter we want to do that. And then we get back down and we say, cool, and we announce that to the whole organization. This is our vision, because we got to tell them often. We got to tell them every single quarter. Yep. Sometimes people are like, hey, this is our vision. And then 5 years later, is that ever our vision anymore? And so every quarter you got to tell them. And then what happens is that people are energized again, and they go dive right back into the business, swim and work hard for another 90 days doing those same things, pop up again. And that's our 90-day world. Does that make sense?
100%. I remember as a W-2 employee, just as an employee, not an entrepreneur or anything, like I just wanted to show up and do a job. Like I didn't really care. But as an entrepreneur, you have to build this vision. You have to build the mission, like you were saying.
Yeah.
And it's now up to you. As an employee, I never had to build a vision.
Yeah.
I never had to build a mission statement. I never had to build any of that. It was just like, I'm just tired of this. I'm just here to punch the clock. As an entrepreneur, it's so important.
It's critically important.
Critically important.
If you don't, you're probably going to go out of business.
Yeah.
Unless you're extremely lucky.
Because with the vision and with your employees, it's just you have to keep it front of mind.
That's right.
And if you don't keep it front of mind every week, every quarter, like you said, it gets forgotten about.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to keep people with that vision. They need to see it. They need to feel it. They need to know what's happening. And so that's why most entrepreneurs have a vision, and it never gets dropped down and actually acted upon. And so in EOS, the reason the book was called Traction, and the reason we focus in the beginning when we work with you in creating that 90-day world and creating that traction, is the vision part is easy. If you don't have traction, nothing happens.
Yeah.
And so we got to teach traction. And so we got to set it up the right way. And so real quick, why don't we just go over just the high level here, the 6 key components
Love it.
of the EOS model.
Yeah, love it.
And so the first key component is vision component. And that's just like we've talked about, getting everybody on the same page with where you're going and how you plan to get there. The second key component is the people component, and that's the right people, right seats that we talked about.
Mhm.
And you can't have a great vision without great people. And so, so it's critical to have be what we call 100% strong in each of these 6 key components. And just to back up a second, the 6 key components are really the best way to have a vision into your business. Because most entrepreneurs will struggle with 136 issues simultaneously. And what happens is that those issues tend to fall into place because they're just symptoms of a root cause of weakness in one of these 6 key components. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we talked about vision. We talked about the people component. The next key component is the data component. And what that means is running your business on facts and figures rather than subjective information and, hopium, I call it,
Yep,
in the sales
hopium,
world
yep.
is a great term.
It's addicting.
Yeah. And so what happens when you strengthen the vision and the people and the data components is all the challenges, obstacles, problems, and things just jump right out at you. And then also the positive things really jump right out at you. So everything's kind of crystal clear when you know where you're going in your vision, you got the right people, and then you have good data to back that up. And so then the fourth key component is the issues component, and that's just getting good at solving issues as they arise, as they come up, having them get on a piece of paper, having the team work through those issues together as a team, and making them go away forever. There is only like 23 issues in the history of business, but they just keep rearing their head in different ways. You know what I mean? And so that's the fourth key component. The fifth key component is the process component. And this really messes people up a lot too, because this is getting your stuff done the right and best way every time. It creates consistency and scalability in your business. And nobody gets anything done if there's a 700-page SOP manual. I'm sure you saw that in the military a lot.
That's all it was. And we had to memorize them too.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. So, we want to make it efficient. We want to make it scalable. We want to be able to grow fast and nimble in an entrepreneurial company. And so just the high level things documented and followed by everybody in the organization. And then that brings us to the bottom of the model, which is the traction component. And so the reason that it's at the bottom of the model and the vision component is at the top of the model is because, like we said earlier, vision without traction is hallucination. And so you just can't get anywhere. And so those are the 6 key components in the EOS model. And EOS is just a simple way of really getting everybody in the organization to move in that right direction towards a bigger goal. So
I love that.
Yeah.
You said something that resonated with me right when you started saying this, was that, an entrepreneur just has 130 things going on that,
Yep.
doesn't know where they fall. And this compartmentalizes each problem.
That's right.
I totally felt that. It's
Yeah.
like I had to be the bookkeeper. I had to be the accountant. I had to be HR. I had to be the guy doing the job. I had to be the sales. I had to be all these things.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to keep it in my head,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like that's how you work yourself into an 80, 120 hour work week.
That's right. 100%.
Yeah.
And so just so you know, when we talk about 100% strong in those categories, we know that that's never going to happen. You're never going to be 100% strong. And so we measure it on a scale of 0 to 100% strong, working to get strong in those. And really, if you can get to 80% strong in each of those 6 key components, you're cranking. You're doing amazing. I'll give you an example or an idea. Most companies are 20% strong and succeeding in spite of themselves. And so think about what that growth would look like if you got from 20 to even 60% strong in each of those 6 key components. It would change it'll change your whole world.
Yeah. This makes sense too, like from an analytical approach. If, let's say you're strong in 4 or 5 of the categories,
Yep.
but one category you're super weak in.
Yep.
From an entrepreneur or from an owner standpoint, now that you have the data, it makes sense to focus on that one you're weakest at. Even though you love doing vision, or you're like, man, my vision's at 75%. I want to get that extra 5% to get to that 80.
Yeah.
That 5% going from 75 to 80 is so much harder to achieve than taking your, let's say, data process from 10 to 30.
Yeah. Yeah. And you'll see it glaring. You'll see the problems glaring. Usually it's in the people component where they have that's where a lot of things happen.
Yep.
But if you're weak in the process component, your people can't execute.
Yep.
Or if you're weak in the traction component, your vision is just it could be the best vision in the world, but it's not going to happen. But if you're really good in traction and bad in vision, it's still not going to happen.
Right.
And so it's just, they all work together and they're so critical. And we have a very simple way. This is going to be the big thing that a lot of people will think about is, man, I can't take enough. I can't take any more. Like you said, the guy that's working 90 hours a week or whatever, I can't do anymore. Well, let me just tell you, you're doing it already. And so all we're doing with this is organizing what you're already doing. I mean, yes, you have to learn some things. You have to learn some common language, and you have to learn some tools that you need to use on a regular basis. They're really not that difficult, though. They're very, very simple. One of the most important things that we do in EOS is simplify. Simplify everything. And the more simple it is, complexity causes people to not do things, right? If it's complex, they won't make a decision. They won't take action if it's complex. And so we got to make it simple. And that's what we do in EOS, is make it as simple as possible for companies to run, make decisions quickly, execute quickly, and so that they can take advantage of the change in market trends or change in products or whatever they need to do.
Yeah, be nimble.
Yeah.
It's super hard to scale a complex company.
It's impossible. I mean, it happens.
Where do you go from being complex at scale?
Yeah.
Impossible?
Yeah. I don't think it is. But yeah. And I love entrepreneurs. I love people that are hungry. I love people that are doing something great for the world. It's what our country was built on, is this entrepreneurial spirit.
I love
so that's why I love so passionate about what I do. That's why I get so excited about talking about this program of EOS and what I can do to help entrepreneurs, change their whole life, because I can free them.
Yeah.
I can free them, and I can help them grow and accomplish what they really wanted when they started that company.
Yeah.
Right now we're in proverbial winter, right? And that proverbial winter is people are like cutting back and like, oh, I don't know, and maybe we shouldn't invest, and maybe we shouldn't do this thing. Well, if you have a plan, there is no winter. There's no winter if you have a plan and a mission and you're going towards the right thing and you know where you're going, and everything else in the world is going to fluctuate. But if you are laser focused on your core focus, which is who you are, who you're best at, when we work through that process to find out who you are and what you're best at, and then you're focused on having the right people and the right core values, and what your numbers are going to be, then winter, that proverbial winter storm that we're all worried about, depression or whatever, not depression, but what's the word I'm thinking of? Economic
like
downturn. Yeah. Or something like that. So his doesn't happen for you.
Yeah.
So
and I found that I'm like more passionate to come up every day and to do it.
Yeah.
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 And I've got like new meaning and new purpose.
That's right.
I love this book too, The Process, because it's like pierce the veil and open up Pandora's box to what the business world from a professional standpoint really is for the people who take it seriously.
That's right.
Because it's one thing to start a lemonade stand. It's another thing to start like a small, handyman service.
Yeah.
But it's completely different to actually get into the world of business.
Yeah.
And once you're in, man, like I've been in business for 3 years, and ever since I started EOS, I feel like I'm at a whole new level already.
Yeah. Yeah. Just frees you, man.
Yeah.
Because everything's right there and available for you.
Right.
And you can go after any goal that you want to, because the system is the same.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what business. It's completely agnostic to industry. So it could be a construction company. It could be a marketing company. It doesn't make any difference what it is. It could
Yeah.
be a farm. It doesn't matter what it is. And so it's just getting that system in place and then plugging your business into it, and rocket ship
Yeah.
happens. So the only people that doesn't work for is the people that don't work it. You know, it's kind of like going to the gym. You know,
Yes.
you can hire a personal trainer, you can do all the fancy stuff, but if you don't go, nothing's going to happen
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah. I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah. You can't be afraid to take that step. Just like what you were saying earlier, you have to keep moving forward.
That's right. Yeah. Just no matter where you are in life, no matter where your situation is, if you own a business or you don't own a business, if you are just hungry to start that first, find that first rental, like it's kind of like Ted Lasso. Have you ever seen Ted Lasso?
I haven't heard great things. I
You
know.
gotta watch it. Anyway, Ted Lasso says believe. And if you haven't watched Ted Lasso, it's really good. But he just says believe. Everything is believe. Believe that you can do it, and you can start that business if you haven't already. If you're in business, believe it can be better. If you have a big business and it's 100 employees or 1,000 employees, it doesn't matter. You can be better, and you can free yourself, and you can do the things that you hope that you want to do or that you want to get to. And so all you got to do is surround yourself with the right people, and you got to get your mind right. You got to start thinking about where you want to go instead of where you've been. There's a reason that the windshield is bigger in your car than the back window. I'm sure you've heard that before.
Yeah.
Think about, where do I want to go, and put all that stuff behind me. Everybody's been through stuff. I've been through a lot of really hard things in my life. Everybody's been through stuff, but it's how you show up today. It's not how you show up yesterday. It's not what happened yesterday.
Yes.
It's how you show up today. Who the people you are around, what kind of books do they have you reading? What kind of things do they have you talking about? What kind of things do they have you thinking about? And so those are the most critical things for you in your business. And so just believe you can do it.
That's perfect, because most people are like, I just don't know how to get started.
Yeah.
And like you said, take the step. Just show up.
Yeah.
You were saying change your environment.
That's it.
It can literally be that simple.
That's right.
We've got the networking event where, we bring people in, and people ask, they're always asking, like, I know I should be doing this. I know I should be doing that. I'm like, just show up.
Yeah.
Just surround yourself with some people. Everybody will start talking to you, with you.
That's right.
And will help you. That's all entrepreneurs want to do anyway, is help. That's why we're here today.
That's right.
Yeah, just show up, take that first step. Speaking of which,
Yeah.
you're gonna be doing more of this with the Boise REIN group.
100%. I'm super excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're doing some really, really great things in January and February. And so I think it's January 30th, if I remember right, we're doing a networking meeting.
Yep.
And we're going to do a deep dive into business, specifically with the EOS model. And so we're going to be talking a little bit deeper than we did today, and illustrating it for you and showing you. So if you're a business owner and you are hungry to learn more about how you could run a more efficient business, you got to be there. You just have to be there. It's completely, it's gonna be really simple to pay attention to. It's very, I'm just what I call the dumb guy with the marker. And so I'm going to be drawing on there and showing you how you can run a more efficient business. And I'm really excited about it.
I am too, because I don't care how big or small you are. This is literally for everybody.
That's right.
I've seen the class you give.
Yep.
It's phenomenal. And I am a visual learner.
Yeah.
I like pictures, and I love the art and everything that you drop there, because it just helps me like conceptually like take it all in.
Yep.
With everything like that you talked about today. So I know for a fact I'm super excited. And there's a possibility that, some of you that are listening, we're past January 30th, or we're past the February events.
Oh, yeah.
But I know we definitely want to have you back. I would love to have you back on the podcast.
100%.
We'd love to have you back doing some more shops. I know you're working with us too.
Yeah.
And if any of you out there have found any value in this, like Max works with so many people.
Yeah.
And he lives, breathes, and eats this. He loves it. So don't ever hesitate to reach out to him. He just loves this.
Yeah. Just hit me up on LinkedIn. That's the best way to get a hold of me, is LinkedIn. And so just, hit me with a message. I'd love to talk to you one-on-one about your business, completely free of charge, no cost. We'll just talk to you about your business. I'll show you how. I'll spend a couple of hours with you, talking about what this could do to change your business and change your life completely. Because I want people to live the life that they want. That's really what being an entrepreneur is about living the life that you want. and not being tied to and just owning a job
Yeah.
like you talked
I was going to ask you, so now that you've done all this, where do you go from here? But it sounds
Yeah.
like you kind of answered that. Like, this is what you want to do. Do you
Yeah.
have anything to add to that?
Yeah. So I love what I do. I
Yeah.
absolutely love what I do. It wakes me up every day in the morning, and I'm fired up to help entrepreneurs get what they want. It's literally the greatest thing that I could ever ask for. So so I'm going to be continuing to help business owners in the Treasure Valley, Magic Valley, Southern Idaho. That's our focus, is focusing on this area and helping entrepreneurs grow here. The other thing that we're doing, my wife and I, she's absolutely incredible, way better than me at all things. And she and I are just going to continue to invest in real estate. We love real estate. We love talking about real estate. We love all aspects of real estate. And so we're going to continue to grow our real estate portfolio and see if we can help people in that category as well.
Some of these systems have even helped me with my real estate investing too.
Oh, absolutely. Doesn't matter.
It's all I build
Completely.
these on is these systems.
Yep.
Yeah.
Completely agnostic. Doesn't matter if you're a solopreneur all the way up to, when you get above 250, 300 employees, then it starts to become corporate and it doesn't work quite as well unless you have a really strong leadership team, but you can still do it.
Love it.
Yeah,
Okay. Well,
so I'm excited, man. Thanks so much for having me. This has
definitely
been awesome. I can't wait to see all of you at our event. I mean, you got to be there.
Boise REIN. I want to challenge you to build a habit with me, reminding ourselves why we listen to developmental podcasts in the first place and why they are crucial for growth. Podcasts like the Boise REIN Show help jumpstart your way to success, improving your listening skills, expanding your vocabulary, heightening your knowledge, and giving you perspective on various business topics. Listening to mentors, peers, and role models like the guests we have on today can also inspire you to grow and improve. This is an investment you're making in yourself, saving you time and money you can't get anywhere else. So if you enjoy this episode, share that with us by giving us a huge thumbs up. Can't wait for the next episode to come out? Hit the subscribe so you're the first to hear our latest episode. Ready to take your business to the next level? Join the tribe and become a member and grow with us in person. Head over to boiserein.com to learn more. Back to the show. Yeah, speaking of all of them, I do have one final question before we get out of here.
Let's do it.
You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So for all of those listening, in your opinion, what's one actionable step that they could take today that will get them closer to their goals tomorrow?
Cool. I'll even do better. Can I give you two?
Let's do it. Yeah.
All right. So first actionable item, I would highly, highly recommend that you get the book Traction. If you haven't read it, it's an incredible book.
Do you have a visual of that?
I sure do. Right here. I got it right here. Traction. It's by Gino Wickman. He's an incredible human. I've met him, and he's just an incredible human. But this will help you whether you're in business or not, for yourself. Even if you just run a team in a corporation and you want to run your team the right way, this would be the book for you. And so read this book. I believe in books. I mean, I have stacks and stacks of books.
Back before I had any business, back when I was a helicopter pilot and didn't know what to do, I read that book.
That's amazing.
Changed me.
Totally.
Changed me.
Yeah. So that's one thing. The second thing that I would recommend, highly, highly recommend, and this is from Broken Max in 2012, October 2012. Just remember that story from the beginning. I had nothing. And what I did was I just made a decision. That I want something bigger from my life. And I made a decision that I was going to do something bigger. I had no idea how I was going to do it. So I surrounded myself with the right people. I started finding people that would get me to where I want to go instead of people, I call it get around people that had a common future instead of just a common past, and so get around the right people. Sometimes you have to love people from afar. That's what I call it. Like sometimes your immediate family is toxic and that's okay. And so you still have to love them, but just love them from afar. See them once a month or talk to them once a month instead of every day, and get around the people that help you to think and get your mind. Because this right here is the thing that will take you wherever you need to be. So that's the second thing. And then the third thing is just take action. Every day, a little baby bit of action every single day. And you'll get to exactly where you need to be. So I took one and made it three. Sorry.
I love that. No. And I love to take one action item every day. Like if you are just 1% better every day, you'll be the tallest tree in the forest.
That's it. That's it. Both of us are tall trees as it is.
We are. That's great. I finally get to talk eye to eye to somebody.
I know, right?
It's a wonderful feeling. Yeah.
That's awesome.
All right, man. Max. Well, hey, thank you so much for coming on today. This is huge value. And I look forward to doing this more often.
Thank you so much for having me. I cannot wait to meet all of the folks that are watching and help them on their journey.
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys. Well, thanks again for joining in. And if I haven't said this enough, but if you enjoyed what you're watching, you're getting a lot of value out of it. It'd mean the world to us if you just dropped a like, drop a subscribe, or even comment. Hey, how are we doing? What could we be doing better? We truly value your opinion. We truly love working with you guys, and I wouldn't be here without the support from all of you. So thank you again, and we'll see you guys next time.